Let's be brutally honest. In today's world, your mind is under attack. Notifications, deadlines, temptations, opinions. You're constantly being pulled in 100 directions, and it's exhausting. No wonder you feel scattered. No wonder focus is rare. We're living in an era where distraction is the norm, and discipline is a rebellion. But here's the truth. If you don't train your mind, someone else will. If you don't build mental order, chaos will take over. And that chaos, it doesn't just live in your inbox or your schedule. It seeps into your relationships, your decisions, your self-worth. So what's the solution? It's not more hacks. It's not another productivity app. It's not chasing motivational highs that fade after 2 days. It's something older, simpler, sharper, stoicism, a philosophy forged in hardship, designed not just to survive life, but to master it. 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while battling self-doubt. Epictetus was born a slave and still found freedom through thought. Seneca faced exile, betrayal, and political pressure, but never lost control of his mind. What did they all share? A deep understanding that discipline doesn't start with routines. It starts with the mind. That emotional chaos isn't solved by running faster. It's solved by slowing down and choosing wisely. And that's what this video is about. We're going to walk through 12 Stoic laws, mental weapons you can use every day to cut through the noise, reclaim your focus, and rebuild your inner fortress. These aren't feel-good affirmations. They're mental rules forged in the fire of reality. Some will be uncomfortable. That's the point. Because you don't become mentally strong by avoiding discomfort. You grow by facing it on purpose. So let me ask you, when was the last time you paused and actually challenged the way your mind reacts to stress? When was the last time you responded with clarity when the world expected you to break? Here's the challenge for today. Stop waiting for peace to arrive. Train for it. Your environment won't slow down, but you can learn to stay calm within it. Your emotions won't disappear, but you can learn to lead them instead of being led by them. So if you're tired of being mentally exhausted, if you're done with being hijacked by impulses, triggered by nonsense, or thrown off by every little thing, then it's time to step into something ancient, powerful, and proven. Let's reset your mind, not with hype, but with truth. Let's start building discipline, not just for achievement, but for freedom. Welcome to the 12 Stoic Laws for Mental Order. This is how you build a mind that cannot be broken. Let's begin. Law 1. Win the battle before it begins. Let's get one thing clear. Most people don't lose in life because they're weak. They lose because they walk into battle unprepared. Not physically, but mentally. Before any challenge ever touches your real life, before the job interview, the confrontation, the project, the pressure, your mind has already decided how it's going to go. You've either convinced yourself you can handle it or quietly accepted defeat. That's why the first and most critical law of mental discipline is this: win the battle before it begins. Because no matter what you face, life, people, circumstances, chaos, the true battleground is always internal. You lose in your mind before you ever lose in the world. Let me ask you, how do you show up when life puts pressure on you? Do you go in with clarity, or do you let fear, doubt, and overthinking run the show? Stoic warriors like Marcus Aurelius didn't just react to life. They trained for it, not with swords and shields, but with visualization and mental rehearsal. They understood that preparation isn't just external, it's deeply internal. Before stepping into the Roman Senate or facing war, Marcus would imagine all the possible outcomes: the praise, the criticism, the failure, the uncertainty. And he would ask himself, Can I handle it? The answer was always yes, not because life got easier, but because he trained his mind to stay ready. And that's what you need to do. Every day you're walking into battles, some big, some small, and most of them are won or lost before a single word is said, before a single decision is made. If you walk into a situation already doubting yourself, already expecting rejection, already visualizing failure, you've surrendered before you've even started. So how do we flip the script? Step one, mental rehearsal. Before the meeting, the conversation, the challenge. Close your eyes and visualize it going well. Walk through it. See yourself calm. See yourself sharp. Picture the outcome you want. Step two, self-dialogue. What are you telling yourself before the battle? Is it, I hope I don't mess this up? Or I've trained for this and I'll handle whatever comes? The words you whisper in your mind become your internal armor or your greatest weakness. Let's stop pretending that confidence just shows up. It's built, it's practiced, it's earned, one inner conversation at a time. So next time you feel overwhelmed, unprepared, or anxious, remember, the battle hasn't started out there. It's already happening in here. Win it here first, and everything outside will start bending in your favor. Because here's the truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your preparation. And that preparation starts in your mind. So today's discipline challenge is this. Don't just react to life. Train for it. Start your morning not with panic, not with distraction, but with intent. Visualize your day. Prepare your mindset. Speak to yourself like a leader, not a victim. Because once your mind is steady, your actions follow. That's how warriors are made, not through brute force, but through quiet, deliberate, inner victory. Win the battle before it begins. Law 2, eliminate the unnecessary. Let's get one thing straight. Discipline isn't about doing more. It's about doing less with precision. We live in a world obsessed with adding things. More apps, more tools, more goals, more advice. But the Stoics understood something we often forget. True strength comes not from accumulation, but from elimination. Think about it. You're not overwhelmed because your life is full of meaning. You're overwhelmed because your life is full of noise. You've got 27 tabs open, mentally, emotionally, and on your screen, and none of them are helping you move forward. They're just distractions wearing clever disguises, urgent tasks, endless notifications, relationships that drain instead of fuel, and habits that make you feel busy but not fulfilled. Here's the hard truth. You don't need more motivation. You need less distraction. You don't need another productivity hack. You need to cut the crap. The Stoic Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. That principle doesn't just apply to money. It applies to your mind, your time, your energy. Start asking yourself, what in my life is clutter pretending to be progress? Which commitments actually matter, and which ones are just keeping me tired and distracted? Discipline isn't about waking up earlier just to cram more into your day. It's about waking up and saying, these are the few things that matter. Everything else can go. Because when you remove the unnecessary, you create space for clarity, focus, and actual growth. You stop living in reaction mode. You start choosing deliberately. Here's a simple challenge. Look at your calendar. Look at your habits. Look at your environment. Now ruthlessly eliminate one thing that drains your energy and adds no real value. Unfollow the account that triggers comparison. Say no to the meeting that serves no purpose. Turn off the notification that pulls you away from your actual goals. Simplify one area of your life and you'll feel your power return instantly. Because real discipline is about saying, I'm not available for chaos. I'm building something better. Simplicity isn't laziness. It's intelligence. It's strategy. And most importantly, it's freedom. So if you want a calmer, stronger, more focused mind, don't start by stacking more on your plate. Start by clearing the table. Eliminate the unnecessary. That's how you get your life and your mind back. Law 3, delay your reaction. Here's a truth no one really talks about. Most of your biggest regrets didn't come from what happened. They came from how you reacted. That text you fired off too quickly. That argument you escalated when silence would have been stronger. That impulsive decision that felt right for 5 minutes, but cost you 5 months of peace. Let me say this clearly. Emotional discipline doesn't begin when life is calm. It begins the moment something triggers you and you decide to pause instead of explode. Because here's the deal. Your first reaction is rarely your best one. It's the emotional one, the automatic one, the one driven by ego, not wisdom. But in that tiny space between stimulus and response is your power. This isn't just philosophy, it's psychology. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, once said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Think about that. Every time someone insults you, cuts you off, questions your worth, or pushes your buttons, you are handed a moment. A moment to either react blindly or respond deliberately. And that moment determines everything. Let me ask you, when was the last time you actually paused before reacting? Not bit your tongue out of politeness, but consciously chose not to let your emotions run the show? The Stoics practiced this daily. Marcus Aurelius didn't just rule an empire. He ruled himself. He reminded himself constantly, you don't have to turn this into something. You don't have to let it upset you. Why? Because reacting instantly means giving away your power, but pausing, that's where composure is born. That's where clarity has a chance to speak. Here's a challenge. Try this for just one day. The next time you feel irritated, misunderstood, provoked, or overwhelmed, don't reply. Don't snap. Don't solve. Just pause. Take one breath. One full inhale and exhale before you say or do anything. That tiny delay, it's not weakness, it's strength, it's control. It's choosing not to be a slave to your emotions. And over time, that pause becomes a habit. And that habit becomes peace. So if you want to train your mind to stay calm, don't start with meditation cushions or yoga mats. Start with one powerful habit. Pause before you react. That's how warriors stay cool in chaos. That's how leaders earn respect. That's how you stop being emotionally hijacked by every little thing. Delay your reaction, because in that delay lies your freedom. Law 4, be cold in chaos. Let me ask you something real. When life punches you in the face, what part of you takes the hit first? Is it your emotions, your pride, your fear? Because here's the harsh reality. Most people crumble not because life gets hard, but because they let their emotions take over when life gets hard. Now imagine this. A storm hits, chaos, pressure, criticism, conflict. Everyone's yelling. Emotions are flying off the rails. And you're still, you're clear, you're cold, not cold-hearted, cold-minded. That's not numbness. That's discipline. In a world where everyone reacts emotionally, staying calm isn't normal. It's elite. Stoics knew this centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire in chaos, and yet his writings reveal a mind trained not to feel less, but to respond better. He said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. What does that mean in real life? It means when your boss disrespects you, when your plans fall apart, when someone tries to provoke you, you don't match their energy. You manage yours. You stay rational when the room gets irrational. You think when others scream. You act with strategy, not spikes of emotion. Why? Because emotion-driven decisions are the ones you regret most. They burn bridges, they weaken trust, they sabotage progress. Being calm in chaos doesn't make you passive, it makes you powerful. Because when you stay cold while others melt down, you rise above the noise. You make better calls, you earn trust, you lead. So here's the challenge. Next time chaos erupts, at work, at home, on the road, don't escalate. Breathe. Observe. Respond only when your mind, not your anger, is in control. This is what true strength looks like. Not muscles, not dominance, but a calm mind in the middle of emotional fire. It won't come easy. You'll be tempted to snap, to defend, to shout. But every time you choose clarity over chaos, you reinforce the muscle of mental order. So the next time everything feels like it's burning, don't add fuel. Be the ice. That's how Stoics survived empires. And it's how you build one, inside your mind. Law 5. Say no without explaining. Let me tell you something that might sting a little. If your no always comes with an essay, you're not setting a boundary. You're asking for permission, and that's the fastest way to drain your time, your energy, and your self-respect. Why do we over-explain? Because deep down we feel like we owe people an excuse for protecting our peace. We think if we just explain enough, they'll understand. But the truth is, you don't need to be understood to be respected. Read that again. The most disciplined, mentally strong people on this planet know one thing very clearly. Saying no is a decision, not a negotiation. You don't owe anyone a paragraph to justify your time. You don't owe anyone emotional access just because they ask nicely. And you definitely don't owe people parts of your life that cost you your peace. Think about this. How often do you say yes just to avoid disappointing someone? How many times have you agreed to things you resented, all because you didn't want to seem rude? That's not kindness. That's self-abandonment dressed as politeness. Stoic philosophy teaches us this tough but freeing truth. You are not obligated to explain your boundaries to people who benefit from you having none. Marcus Aurelius didn't journal long apologies every time he turned down a favor. He led with reason, not guilt. Seneca reminded us, if a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. In other words, if you're not clear with yourself, you'll be pushed by everyone else. You want mental order? You want discipline? Then you need to practice this. No, thank you. No excuse. No guilt. No long-winded story. Just clarity. Just self-respect. Because over-explaining sends the wrong message, not just to others, but to yourself. It tells your subconscious, maybe I'm doing something wrong. It tells the world I'm unsure. I'm shaky. I'm trying to be liked. But here's a truth you need to embrace if you want to grow. Being respected is better than being liked. And the people who truly respect you, they don't need your reasons. They honor your no without pushing for a why. Of course, this won't feel easy at first. You've probably been conditioned to believe that being firm equals being selfish. But it's not. It's how you stay sane. It's how you keep your commitments to yourself before committing to others. So here's your challenge. Say no once this week, clean, direct, and unapologetic. Then watch what happens. You'll feel uncomfortable at first, and then free. Because every time you honor your own limits, you teach others how to treat you, And more importantly, you remind yourself that your peace, your energy, and your time are not up for grabs. Say no without explaining, because that is how boundaries become habits, and habits become identity. This is how you build a life rooted in strength, not people-pleasing. You are not here to be agreeable. You are here to be authentic. And authenticity starts with one word: no. Law 6, don't argue with the unreasonable. Here's a truth you don't hear enough. Not every opinion deserves your response. Not every insult deserves your energy. And not every argument is worth your peace. Because let's be honest, some people don't want clarity. They want conflict. They don't argue to understand. They argue to win, to dominate, or to project their own chaos onto someone else. And if you take the bait, you lose twice. You lose your calm, and you lose your time. The Stoics had a word for this kind of restraint: sophrosyn, a deep inner discipline that keeps your emotions in check even when the world tries to pull you out of yourself. When you argue with someone who's not grounded in reason, you're stepping into their storm, and storms don't care how logical you are. You could be 100% right, backed by facts, truth, and principle, and still walk away drained, disrespected, and frustrated. So ask yourself, is this person even capable of hearing me? Are they emotionally safe to engage with? Or are they just looking for a fight to feel important? Because here's a hard truth: your energy is a currency. And if you keep spending it on people who don't value it, don't be surprised when you feel mentally bankrupt. Let's make it even clearer. You don't have to respond to every rude comment. You don't have to defend your boundaries to someone who never honored them in the first place. And you absolutely don't have to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, your calm is your counterattack. Your silence is your strength. And yes, I get it. It's tempting to clap back, to prove a point, to win the argument. But real strength isn't loud. Real power doesn't yell to be noticed. Real power walks away, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. You don't need to convince someone who's already decided to misinterpret your intentions. You don't need to fight just to prove you're right, because being right doesn't mean much if you lose your peace in the process. So what should you do when faced with unreasonable people? Step back, breathe, ask yourself, does this move me closer to the life I want to build, or is this just noise? Because inner peace isn't found in domination. It's found in discipline. The next time someone throws verbal chaos your way, try this. Pause. Say nothing. Walk away if you need to. That act alone, it's not avoidance. It's emotional mastery. You don't owe your energy to chaos. You owe it to your growth. So remember, don't argue with the unreasonable. Let their noise be their burden, not yours. Your job isn't to win arguments. It's to win your peace back. That's how you lead yourself with power. That's how you protect your focus, your clarity, and your future. Let others yell into the void if they must. You've got better things to build. Law 7, make pain your ally. Let's get one thing straight. Pain isn't your enemy, it's your instructor. Most people spend their lives running from discomfort, avoiding failure, hiding from criticism, numbing any feeling that doesn't feel good. But the Stoics knew something most of us forget in a comfort-obsessed world. Growth doesn't come from ease. It comes from friction. And that friction, it's not just physical, it's emotional, mental, spiritual. It's the tough conversation you've been avoiding. The early morning when your bed is warm, but your goals are cold and waiting. The decision to keep going when quitting would be so much easier. Here's the truth. Pain reveals where you're weak, but it also reveals where you're ready to become strong if you let it. When you face discomfort with your eyes open, something shifts. You stop seeing pain as punishment. You start seeing it as preparation. Think about the gym. Muscle doesn't grow without resistance. You don't get stronger lifting pillows. You get stronger lifting weight. The same is true for your character. Emotional strength, built through heartbreak, through discipline, through saying no when your impulse screams yes. Mental resilience, built in those moments when everything goes wrong and you still choose not to break. Pain, when faced with awareness, becomes fuel. It's the raw material of transformation, but only if you stop numbing and start noticing. Ask yourself, what discomfort have you been avoiding? What pain have you been running from that could actually be the gateway to your next level? It could be the job you know you need to leave, the person you know you need to forgive, the habit you know is slowly stealing your confidence. The Stoics taught that we should welcome struggle, not because suffering is noble in itself, but because struggle builds substance. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." And he was right. If you want to become unshakable, you don't avoid the storm. You train in it. Start with this mindset shift. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" Instead of saying, "I can't handle this," say, "This is how I get stronger." Every setback carries a lesson. Every hardship carries a tool. Every pain point is pointing you towards something deeper. But you have to choose. Will this pain break you or build you? The more you run from pain, the more power it gains over you. But when you sit with it, when you examine it, when you learn from it, you reclaim that power. So here's your challenge. Whatever discomfort you're facing right now, don't numb it. Don't rush through it. Feel it. Learn from it. Use it. Turn it into fuel. Because once you stop fearing pain and start partnering with it, you unlock a version of yourself that can't be bought, borrowed, or broken. Make pain your ally, and you'll never face life the same way again. Law 8. Do the boring work. Everyone wants the results, but almost no one wants the routine. Let's be honest, discipline isn't sexy. It's not exciting. It's not the motivational high you get after watching a hype video or setting big goals at midnight. Discipline is boring. It's showing up when you don't feel like it. It's doing the same small, unglamorous task over and over, without applause, without rewards, without anyone noticing. And yet, that's where the magic is. You don't become strong by doing things once. You become strong by doing the same thing repeatedly, on purpose, with intention. The Stoics knew this. They didn't talk about greatness as a moment. They talked about it as a process that lives in repetition, in effort, in habits. Epictetus once said, "Progress is not achieved by luck or accident, but by working on yourself daily." Read that again. Daily, not when it's convenient, not when inspiration strikes. Daily. That means writing even when your thoughts feel messy, training even when your body's tired, practicing patience even when you're irritated. That's the grind no one posts about. And that's exactly why it works. Let me ask you, what's one thing you know you need to do consistently, but you keep waiting to feel motivated for? And more importantly, what if motivation never comes? Would you still do it? Because here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Mastery is boring. Excellence is repetitive. Progress is quiet. It's not the big moments that define you. It's the boring ones. The mornings when you make your bed. The meals you choose to cook instead of order. The extra 5 minutes you spend reading instead of scrolling. These tiny, ordinary decisions, they compound. They build your identity. They train your mind to do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. The problem is, we've been sold the lie that progress needs to feel exciting, that if you're not passionate, you're doing something wrong. But the Stoic truth is this: passion fades, discipline stays. And the more you learn to find peace in repetition, the more unshakable you become. So here's a mindset shift. Don't chase stimulation, chase structure. Don't rely on feeling inspired, rely on building systems. Because the person who learns to fall in love with the process, they win. Slowly, quietly, but surely. And the best part, once you embrace the boring work, it stops feeling boring. It becomes sacred. It becomes your training ground. It becomes the quiet space where your future self is being built. So next time you feel unmotivated, good. That's your moment. That's your invitation to become someone who acts from purpose, not impulse. Because doing the boring work isn't a weakness, it's a superpower. It's what separates those who dream from those who do. And you're here because you're ready to do, ready to train, ready to win, not in a spotlight, but in the shadows. Remember, the results you want live on the other side of repetition. So today, return to the basics. Choose consistency over excitement, and let the quiet work speak for you. Law 9, get up early even when you don't want to. Let's cut straight to the truth. The hardest part of the day is the first 10 minutes. That moment when your alarm goes off and your body whispers, just 5 more minutes. That moment when your bed feels warmer than your goals. That exact moment is where most people lose the day, before it even starts. But here's the reality. If you can't win your morning, how do you expect to win your life? Getting up early, especially when you don't want to, isn't just about productivity. It's about discipline. It's about self-respect. It's about proving to yourself that your actions lead, not your emotions. The Stoics understood this long before 5 a.m. clubs and motivational gurus. They knew the morning is sacred, not because the world is watching, but because it's the time when you are. No distractions, no chaos, no noise, just you and your decision to rise. Think about it. When you choose to wake up early, you're choosing discomfort on purpose. You're choosing to meet the day on your terms, not wait for it to come crashing down on you. You're telling your subconscious, I'm not ruled by how I feel. I lead, I act, I show up. And over time, that builds something rare, self-trust. Because every early morning you conquer is a deposit in your mental bank account. It tells your future self, you can count on me. I don't quit when it's hard. And that kind of inner contract, it's priceless. Now let's be honest, it won't always be easy. There will be mornings when your body aches, when your motivation is nowhere to be found, when the bed feels like the only safe place. But those are the mornings that matter most, because those are the mornings that shape your identity. Anyone can get up when they feel inspired. Few can get up when they feel nothing. So here's the challenge. Don't wait for motivation. Set the alarm, stick to it, get uncomfortable. You don't need to start with 4:30 a.m. Just start with earlier than your excuses. Whether it's 6 a.m., 7 a.m., or simply an hour before everyone else, protect that space. Make it yours. Use it to journal, to walk, to train, to breathe, to think before the world starts screaming for your attention. Because when you rise early, you take your power back. You set the tone. You lead the rhythm. You stop reacting and start creating. Marcus Aurelius wrote, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I'm rising to do the work of a human being. not a child, not a victim, a human being with purpose, with strength, with agency. So tomorrow morning, when that alarm rings, ask yourself, will I repeat yesterday's habits or become who I said I'd be? Because your morning is not just a routine, it's a message to the rest of your life. And that message is this: I'm in control, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Law 10, don't let compliments or criticism define you. Let's be real. Most people are secretly addicted, not to sugar, not to caffeine, but to approval. You post something, you wait. Did they like it? Did they comment? Did they see me? Or maybe you say something bold and immediately scan the room to see who frowned. Whose opinion did I just lose? This invisible tug of war between praise and blame is exhausting. But here's the harsh truth. If compliments lift you too high, criticism will crush you just as low. And when your self-worth becomes a mirror reflecting other people's reactions, you're not living, you're performing. Stoic wisdom doesn't sugarcoat this. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, wrote, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." He understood that both praise and criticism are noise, external, fleeting, and often meaningless. Why? Because people praise you based on their values, their projections. They criticize you based on their insecurities, their blind spots. None of it reflects the truth of who you are. So here's the question: who are you when nobody is clapping? Who are you when nobody is watching? If you don't have an answer, you'll always be chasing approval like a moving target, one you'll never hit for long. But when your identity is rooted in values like integrity, resilience, discipline, what others think becomes background noise. You stop asking, do they like me? And you start asking, am I proud of the way I showed up? Now that's power. And don't get me wrong, compliments feel good. It's human. But if you need them to feel good about yourself, you're handing your emotional stability to strangers. Same goes for criticism. Not all criticism is helpful. Some of it is projection. Some of it is noise. If you crumble every time someone disapproves, you'll never stand tall when it actually matters. So what's the alternative? Detach. Hear it. Don't absorb it. Accept it. Don't anchor to it. Evaluate it without letting it write your identity. Because here's the truth you need to tattoo on your mindset. You are not your praise. You are not your criticism. You are your choices. And when your choices are aligned with your principles, when your actions reflect who you truly are, no amount of outside opinion can shake that. So the next time someone praises you, smile, then move on. The next time someone criticizes you, pause, consider, then move on. In both cases, return to center. That center is built on discipline, not ego, clarity, not noise, identity, not performance. Let the world talk. Let the feedback flow. You keep walking because you weren't made to be defined. You were made to be grounded. And in a world obsessed with validation, that is your edge. Law 11, become who you say you are. Let's get honest with ourselves. How many times have you said, I want to be more disciplined. I want to be healthier. I want to be a better version of myself, but then acted in the exact opposite direction? We all do it. We dream big. We talk big. But our actions, they whisper. And often they contradict everything we claim to believe. Here's the truth no one likes to hear. You don't become who you say you are. You become what you consistently do. You can talk about discipline all day, but if you hit snooze every morning, what's the real message you're sending to yourself? You can preach self-growth, but if you avoid discomfort, and choose distraction, are you really evolving? This is where Stoic philosophy hits hard. Identity isn't built through intentions. It's built through repetition. Marcus Aurelius didn't just write about self-control. He lived it. Through stress, through war, through doubt. Epictetus didn't just talk about freedom. He embodied it, even as a slave. They understood something simple but powerful. Every action is a vote for the type of person you're becoming. You say you want to be calm under pressure? Cool. Then your habits need to reflect calm when the traffic piles up, when the inbox is overflowing, when someone disrespects you. You say you want to be a person of integrity? Then even when no one's watching, you do the right thing because you're watching. And that's the point. You don't need an audience. You don't need applause. You just need to become the kind of person your future self would thank you for. So let me ask you this. If someone followed you around with a camera for 30 days and documented your habits, would the footage reflect the person you claim to be? If not, good. That means there's room to grow. That means the identity you admire isn't out of reach. It's just waiting for you to align your actions with your words. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop thinking identity is something that happens to you. It's something you build, one decision at a time. Integrity isn't just being honest with others. It's being honest with yourself. It's waking up, looking in the mirror, and knowing that who you are on the inside matches what the world sees on the outside. That's rare. That's powerful. And that's what this law is about. So today, don't just say who you are. Prove it, not with a post, not with a promise, but with action. Because in the end, your identity won't be built by what you said. It will be built by what you chose to repeat. Let every action cast a vote for the life you want to live. And slowly, deliberately, you'll become exactly who you say you are. Law 12. Remember, you will die. Let's talk about something most people run from. Death. Not because it's comfortable, but because it's real. Because if you want to live with power, with urgency, and with discipline, you can't afford to ignore your mortality. The Stoics had a phrase, memento mori. It means, remember that you must die. And no, it's not meant to depress you. It's meant to wake you up. Because here's the cold truth. Most people live like they've got unlimited time. They procrastinate, they complain, they waste hours arguing, scrolling, doubting, hesitating. And for what? You don't get a refund on today. You don't get to replay this hour. And no one, not even the wealthiest, most powerful people on earth, can buy more time. Time is the ultimate currency. And death, it's the ultimate clarity. Think about it. If you knew you had only 6 months left, would you still be arguing over petty things? Would you still be waiting for the right moment to change your habits? Would you still let fear stop you from speaking your truth or chasing what matters? You'd move, you'd act, you'd simplify your life and cut the nonsense. That's what memento mori does. It cuts through the noise and reminds you, this life isn't a rehearsal, this is it. And guess what? You don't know how many days you have left. You might have 50 years. You might have 5. That's not meant to scare you. It's meant to sharpen you, to burn away your excuses, to silence your inner victim, to push you into discipline, not because someone's watching, but because you're still alive. You're still here. And that's all the reason you need to stop living passively and start living with intention. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." So when you're tempted to delay the hard work, when you feel like giving in to comfort, when you catch yourself wasting a day on things that don't matter, remember you will die. And that's not a threat. It's a call to live deeply, to show up, to do what matters, to love boldly, to leave nothing unsaid. Death isn't the end of the Stoic journey, it's the fuel. So if you've been waiting to become more disciplined, more focused, more you, stop waiting. Memento mori, remember and begin. This is the way forward. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Discipline isn't perfection, it's direction. You don't need to have every answer. You don't need to wake up tomorrow as a flawless version of yourself. But you do need to move. You need to commit to something better, something stronger, something aligned with who you say you want to be. Because let's be honest, most people wait. They wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect mood. They wait for the universe to align. But Stoicism, it teaches the opposite. It teaches you to act, especially when it's hard, to choose clarity over confusion, to choose strength over comfort, to choose discipline even when no one's watching. And maybe you don't remember all 12 Stoic laws. That's okay. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed. That's normal. But if there's one thing I want you to walk away with, it's this. Start with one. Pick one principle, just one. Apply it today, not next week, not when life slows down. Now pause before you react. Say no without guilt. Wake up early. Detach from chaos. Refuse to let compliments or criticism define you. Just one move, one moment of clarity. That's where it starts. Because here's the secret. You don't build an unshakable mind in one day. You build it in the little moments you usually overlook. The moment you choose the hard thing instead of the easy escape. The moment you hold your tongue instead of proving your point. The moment you show up when no one's clapping for you. That's the path. That's discipline. That's Stoicism in action. Not as a philosophy you read, but as a mindset you live. And over time, those little moments stack up. They become a life of self-mastery, inner freedom, and peace that doesn't depend on outside circumstances. So let me leave you with this. What's one thought today you can control? What's one habit today you can clean up? What's one decision today you can make with strength instead of emotion? Answer that and take the step. Because no, this journey won't be perfect, but it will be powerful. And you're not here to coast. You're here to grow, to evolve, to lead your mind, not follow the world. This is how order begins, one inner decision at a time. So thank you for walking through these 12 Stoic laws with me. This isn't the end, it's the beginning. And if you felt something shift today, don't ignore it. Use it, move with it, build on it. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay grounded, and stay free. Because a calm mind is your greatest weapon in a chaotic world. Now go live like you mean it.